Cop says, back up. I had a case like this. Back up, right? And I'm like, it happened to me once. I think I was doing one of these for the critical mass. Back up. You know, if you don't, there's a crime that's called failure to disperse. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know? This is my street. I paid for the street. It's our public street. You're you know, sorry, but you're my servant, right? I mean, you're the officer. You're the officer. You're here to protect us, serve us, right? Serve justice. But you're telling me I can't stand right here? My hands in my pocket and I'm watching. And I'm listening because I see things are getting a little heated here, not between me and you, but between you and somebody else. And I want to make sure that he doesn't get his head bashed in. And I didn't say all this, I'm thinking it. And he's telling me to back up because he wants to get rid of the witnesses in my mind. I don't know. Maybe he wants to also go home that night and be safe. But, you know, I'm not a threat. I'm like standing there, you know. And so your question is, what's wrong? I need a video camera? I agree with Andrew. Our greatest protection are video cameras, maybe. But I did also disagree with what I said earlier. I'd like a world where we don't need a video camera. What if I can't afford one? What if I'm homeless? What if I can't? I don't like all this video crap. I want to be able to stand there peacefully, politely, and be a witness. You right? And not be a jerk or be an obstructionist, and just be there. That should be. That should be. And right. And the cop says, you know, back off, go across the street. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right to me. I agree with you. And so if you don't now, you're going to get taken in. Just understand, you don't have to, but you're going to get taken in. Obstruction of justice, failure to disperse, and your video camera is going to get broke, okay, in the process. And so then in the end, you get a ticket, you come see me, I get money. I pay for my food and my mortgage. You're in jail. You lose your film. The other option is you back up. Don't do what you want to do. I'm just telling you what the consequences. You back up. The officer is not far enough. Make your choice. You want the video or don't you? Back up. You want to charge and lose the video? Don't. Your choice. Back up, and if you want the video, until he stops hassling you. Or turn the video off and stand there. But you know, I agree with you, Barry. I agree. So that's my piece. Thanks. What do you think, Jim?
I think it's reasonable. Whatever's reasonable.
Yeah, there's no bright line test. Okay.
Hi. I'm really glad Barry brought up that point because we're moving into a fascinating new area of law enforcement in which a technological device that is a fairly reliable witness at this point is probably held in the pockets of a group of moderately affluent people if they happen to be hanging out together. And my question involves a similar sort of third party, and that's that if I see someone interact with a police officer, is there any way that I can inform that person of his or her rights without being charged? Thanks.
Great question. Jim, you do that. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Jim, you want one of these cards?
Yeah, I might need one.
This is great.
Well, shoot, if you're interfering with the investigation, then no, you can't interject into that. But if you're not interfering with the investigation, then yeah, you can. But who knows what that's going to be, what that's going to look like during that situation. It's going to be on the perception of the officer conducting that investigation, whether you interfered with it or not. So.
Yeah, I'd say have someone film that while you're doing that.
And someone film that person filming it.
I'd like to say that what I would rather have happen is that you go home and you talk to your friends and you take some of the material with you tonight and you have a conversation that in advance so people know what their rights are and know how to assert them in a respectful and safe manner. Because I have a hard time thinking that an officer is not going to consider you as interfering or obstructing with that investigation if you're trying to give somebody that they're talking to advice at that time. just, I just don't know how an officer's going to have to control the situation and try to get the information, and they're going to see that as problematic.
So is there any way to inform them during an interaction?
I don't know. I mean, there's got to be some way, but I'm not thinking.
Telepathy.
Yeah, I'm not thinking of one right now.
You know, yeah, and I would sort of echo that. What you need to do is you need to figure that out before it happens. Everybody needs to. At last semester in my class, students came in one day, and a couple of them had been out at some bar, and they told me a story about how the cops had come in the bar, and they started talking to someone, and they ended up hauling this guy out of there, and they're telling this story and various phases. They're saying, well, can they do that? I'm thinking, no, they can't do that. Can they do the next thing? No, they can't do that. Can they do the next thing after that? Nope, that was wrong. They can't do that, but you know what they did? And so the question is, how do you stop them from doing it at the time? And I don't think there really is a way. You need to plan that out in advance, to figure out what you're going to say in that kind of situation, and then go complain to the police department afterwards. But I don't see a way to feed that information while it's all happening, because it's all going to happen fast in a situation that's going to be chaotic and probably at night, and everyone's going to have their different perception, and you're going to have, yeah, I don't see how you're not going to go to jail.